The observation deck of Station Kepler 442 hummed with the usual cacophony of galactic commerce. Maya pressed her small hands against the translucent aluminum viewport, her breath fogging the surface as she watched the docking ships paint streaks of light across the void. At 7 standard years old, she had seen more species than most humans encountered in a lifetime, but the wonder never faded from her dark eyes. "Papa, look, a Vrexian cruiser," she exclaimed, tugging at Ferret's worn maintenance jacket. Ferret smiled, his weathered face crinkling at the corners. 20 years on, the frontier stations had etched lines into his skin that told stories of hard work and harder choices. He was a simple man, a caretaker. They called it in station parlance. He fixed atmosphere processes, scrubbed by, and kept the life support systems running, while diplomats and traders conducted their grand affairs above his pay grade. "I see it, coxswain," he said softly, using the old Earth Turkish endearment. "Beautiful, aren't they?" What Ferret didn't mention was the 3 Calter enforcers who had been watching them for the past 10 minutes. The reptilian species was known throughout the galactic assembly for their aggressive trade practices and barely concealed contempt for soft-flesh species. Humans, in particular, seemed to irritate them. Too stubborn, too unpredictable, too resilient. The largest Calter, his scales a deep crimson that marked him as a warrior caste, approached with deliberate menace. His companions flanked him, hands resting on neural disruptors. "Human," the lead Calter hissed, his translator implant rendering the words in harsh standard. "This section is now restricted. Your kind pollutes the air with weakness." Ferret straightened slowly, positioning himself between the aliens and Maya. "The posted schedules show this observation deck is public access for another 2 hours. We're not causing any trouble." "Trouble?" The Calter's jaw split in what passed for a grin among his kind. "You breathe. That is trouble enough." The child squeals like prey. "Leave, or we will remove you." Mia's hand tightened on her father's jacket. She had seen her papa calm and steady through countless station crisis decompression scares, coolant leaks, even a minor reactor fluctuation, but she had never seen his eyes go cold like this. "We'll leave when our time is up," Ferret said quietly. Too quietly, the Calter reached for Maya. What happened next would become legend in the frontier stations, debated in strategy rooms, and studied in xenopsychology courses. Across a dozen systems, Ferret moved. His hand caught the Calter's wrist mid, and there was a sickening crack as bone or whatever calcified structure held the alien's arm together. The caretaker's other hand shot forward, palm strike to the throat, and the massive enforcer crumpled, gasping through a crushed windpipe. The second Calter lunged, drawing his disruptor. Ferret pivoted, using the falling body of the first attacker as a shield, then surged forward. His elbow caught the second alien's snout, pulverizing it. Before the creature could scream, Ferret's foot swept its legs, sending it crashing into a support column with a wet thud. The third Calter, wiser or more cowardly than his companions, actually managed to fire his weapon. The neural disruptor Windan sparked harmlessly against Ferret's jacket. The caretaker had lined it with emergency thermal insulation months ago, meant for radiation leaks, but effective enough against energy weapons at close range. Ferret closed the distance in 2 strides. His fist, calloused from years of manual labor, struck once, twice, 3 times with mechanical precision. The alien fell. 12 seconds. 3 trained Calter enforcers neutralized Papa. Maya's voice was small, uncertain. Ferret's hands were shaking as he turned to his daughter. The cold fury drained from his face, replaced by something gentler, more vulnerable. "I'm sorry you had to see that, Tatlum, but nobody touches my daughter." He knelt beside her, checking for any signs of distress. "Are you okay?" Maya nodded slowly, then threw her arms around his neck. "Dad, please stop them from being mean to us anymore," she whispered into his shoulder. Ferret held her close, not noticing the crowd that had gathered, the security feeds that had captured everything, or the emergency response teams rushing toward them. 72 hours later, Ferret sat in a diplomatic receiving room that was far too luxurious for a station caretaker. Maya sat beside him, swinging her legs nervously. The door opened, and the delegation entered, not station security, as Ferret had expected, but representatives from the Galactic Assembly itself. A Vrexian diplomat, her crystalline skin refracting the light into rainbow patterns, a human ambassador looking distinctly uncomfortable, and, surprisingly, a Calter elder, his scales pale with age. The Vrexian spoke first, her voice melodious. "Mr. Ferret Demir, your ... incident has created quite a situation." Ferret's jaw tightened. "I defended my daughter, that's all." "That's not all." the human ambassador interjected. Do you have any idea what you've done? You single-handedly took down 3 Calteran forces. They're considered among the finest hand-to-hand combatants in known space, and you did it in 12 seconds. The Calter elder leaned forward, his ancient eyes studying Ferret with unsettling intensity. Your species continues to confound us. Human, weak by our standards, slow by Vrexian measures, short-lived compared to the eternal clans. Yet when threatened, when protecting offspring, he made a gesture that might have been respect. You become something ... other. We've reviewed your file, the Vrexian continued. Military service, Earth Centauri conflict, special operations. You've been living as a civilian for 14 years, but the instincts remain. Ferret said nothing. The human ambassador sighed. The Calter Concordat has issued a formal apology. The 3 enforcers violated multiple protocols. You're not being charged. In fact, he paused, glancing at his colleagues. There's been a proposal. Humanity has been seeking a permanent seat on the Assembly Security Council. Your actions have expedited certain discussions. I don't care about politics, Ferret said flatly. I just want to raise my daughter in peace. The Calter elder's jaw split slightly, a genuine smile, Ferret realized. Then peace you shall have, human. My people have learned a valuable lesson about your kind. We thought you weak because you choose peace. We understand now you choose peace because you know the alternative. Maya tugged her father's sleeve. Papa, what does that mean? Ferret lifted her onto his lap, holding her close. It means, Coxim, that sometimes being strong means being kind, and sometimes being kind means showing others why kindness is the better choice. The delegation rose to leave. As they reached the door, the Vrexian turned back. The observation deck, Mr. Demir. It's been officially designated a public heritage site, named in honor of Maya Demir for the simple act of wanting to watch the stars. After they left, Maya looked up at her father. Can we go back to the observation deck now? Ferret smiled, the warmth returning to his tired eyes. Yes, Tatlum, we can watch the stars whenever you want. I promise nobody will stop you again. As they walked through the station corridors, word had already spread. Aliens of every species nodded respectfully. Some moved aside, others simply watched with newfound understanding. Humanity had once again proven the oldest truth of the galactic frontier. There is nothing more dangerous in the universe than a gentle soul provoked, especially when that soul has a child to protect. And in that moment, the entire Galactic Assembly learned why humanity's most peaceful members were never to be underestimated, because they chose peace and choice implied alternatives. The end.